Hello, I'm at GuffmanHouse.com, and these are two great ride snowboards, the Superpig and the Mountain Pig. I'm going to show you which one is best for you. Both these boards are great. They really are. The Mountain Pig is a big kind of free ride deck that rides more like a traditional directional style board. And the Superpig is basically a board pig on steroids. It has a volume shift story. You can ride it a lot shorter. It has a very wide waist width, and I'm going to kind of get into their similarities, their differences, and why you should get one over the other depending on what your preferred riding style is like. Just to kind of start it out, the Superpig is going to dive into turns extremely fast, like very, very fast, because of the tapered bi-radial sidecut, which is basically a reverse progressive sidecut radius. It dives in fast and kind of has a more mellow style out, whereas the Mountain Pig has a progressive sidecut radius, or a tapered linear quadratic sidecut radius, which is the opposite of that. So it has a more aggressive kick out of it than it does into a turn, which is pretty cool. Both boards kind of share a lot of similarities. The first one is that they're both tapered directional style boards. The Mountain Pig has a 5mm wider nose than what you find in the tail, and the Superpig has a 10mm wider nose than the tail. So if you'd like to take these things in deep snow, you can definitely do that. They're going to plane across the top of snow a lot better than your average style board. They also feature a directional hybrid camber profile shape. So when you set these boards on the flat snow, outside of the insert packs and out of the effective edge, the board's going to have a gradual kind of nice arcing sweep in the nose, whereas underneath that front foot all the way to the tail is going to be an aggressive style camber shape. That aggressive camber is going to lock into your edge and help you to rip when you're just carving down the hill. It'd also have a great ollie pop in a kind of traditional classic location at the end of the effective edge. And another great thing about the directional hybrid camber profile camber shape in the back foot is that when you kind of compress that thing down, it gradually kind of lifts up the nose just a little bit too. Both boards feature a wood core, or a combination wood core called the Performance. It's very strong style aspen, lightweight paulownia, and then kind of energy specific bamboo style woods. And they both have a carbon infused glass. I believe it runs at negative 45 degrees and right down the center. These boards are going to be quite a bit more torsionally rigid than what you find in a standard style board. In addition to the carbon infused glass, both boards also have what's called Carbon Array 5. There's 4 different locations of 5 radiant style carbon strands that have a starting point on each corner of the board and kind of radiate through the insert packs here. And what that does for the front and back foot is gives a better energy transfer right to the end of your contact points, so you can hold on to the edge quite a bit more and be more stable. And they also feature what's called a roll-in slime wall style construction. And that roll-in slime wall is kind of almost like a half cap, like from back in the day, where it actually strengthens the edge while also reducing the amount of weight because there's less material. But the biggest difference between this roll-in construction is the actual sidewall. Now both of them feature what's called a slime wall or urethane style sidewall that doesn't fluctuate in its flex in different temperature ratings. It's going to flex the exact same in cold temps as it does in warm temps, making both boards very consistent in the ride and feel, which is great. But with those sidewalls, there's additional carbon in them, but in specific areas for each board. The Mountain Pig only has that slime wall, or the carbon slime wall section, in the tail end of the board, making the tail a lot stiffer than what you'll find in the nose. Whereas on the Superpig, it's actually both in the tail and on the nose. So it's going to be a little bit more stiff in this front end area. And of course, both feature sintered style bases that have great and deep structure to them. But the differences in the center base material is just a little bit different. On the Superpig, it's actually a race base. It's actually like a World Cup style base. It will ride extremely fast, but you need to keep your eye on it and keep it waxed up throughout the season. Yeah, they're both great decks, and now we're going to kind of dive into a lot of their differences. Again, the first one, there's quite a bit more of a directional style taper to the Warpig, and it actually has a centered stance within the effective edge of the board. So it's going to feel, even though there's a lot of things going on differently in the nose than the tail, it'll feel more like a twin board when you ride it switch than what you'll find in this Mountain Pig, which has a 19mm setback stance. This is a very directional, kind of traditional style free riding board. You know, and then you notice on the top sheet too, there's a difference. This is actually a birch veneer style top, instead of what you find as a topless style design, which is infused into that carbon style glass, which is actually pretty cool. And then of course is the sidecut radiuses. That's where the feels of these boards are quite a bit different. Again, there's a progressive sidecut radius with the Mountain Pig. There's a larger sidecut on the nose and a smaller one in the tail. So when you has a more mellow kind of into the turn, and then a very explosive, energetic style pop. So when you ride it switch, it's going to have a feel of the Superpig, which is kind of unique because it'll dive quick in and have a more mellow out. Whereas the Superpig, it has a reverse progressive sidecut radius. It has a smaller sidecut radius on the nose and a larger one on the tail. So riding this board regular, it's going to dive into the turn really fast, hold a nice edge, and have a more mellow out. But when you ride it switch, it's going to have a more mellow into the turn and then more aggressive out, which is kind of fun. Both are fantastic boards. Now, I would say for someone who has a lot of free ride boards, I would definitely get the Warpig, just because it has such a unique and different feel. But I'd have to say you have to be in, you know, that high level, intermediate to advanced level skill set to ride the Superpig. And you know, it has a feel and flex of an 8. You know, quite a bit more responsive, stiff, and stable than your average board. And then the Mountain Pig. You know, if you need a new or updated free ride board, and you're still kind of getting into riding, but you're intermediate to advanced level, get this one. It has a more traditional style feel than what you'll find in the Superpig. It does have more regular and standardized style sizing, so regular waist widths. But if you do have big feet, the Mountain Pig does come in wide options too. For me personally, I've got a lot of traditional free ride decks. You know, I really do love the Mountain Pig. It was really similar to the Alter Ego deck, and but if I were to get a new deck out of these two, I'd probably gear towards the Superpig. But I would only gear towards the Superpig because I already have a lot of traditional free ride decks. But if I didn't have, traditional free ride deck, I'd jump on the Mountain Pig. But if I want something a little different and fun, super wide platform, I'd definitely get that Superpig. Both are dope decks. You can check them out at the house right now. We price match, so if you see them anywhere else for less, let us know. We'll match that price. Thanks for being out there. Thanks for watching. Leave some comments and questions. Hopefully I'll see you guys on snow. Peace.